Welcome back to English 101. This week we're going to start talking about the writing process. I say start because really we'll be focusing on this throughout the entire course. There are 5 main steps. First, establish your rhetorical situation. Review last week's video if you're not sure how to do that. 2, develop ideas. I'll be posting exercises in your Canvas course to help out with this as we go along. 3, draft. Get those ideas down on paper. Just to be clear, when I assign a draft, I expect you to write a full essay. It's not an outline or a quick bunch of ideas that you dashed out right before the deadline. A draft is a complete showing of your argument and support. It won't be perfect, and that's fine, but it should be complete. 4, revise. We'll be getting to the revision process later in the quarter, but it is a multi-step process of improvement and not just a quick spell check. 5, reflection. This is an often overlooked step, but the best way to learn is to consider your own writing and writing process. What went well? What still needs work? I encourage you to take time after each essay to reflect on it. When you're ready to start drafting, it's important to understand how essays are put together. An essay is made up of 3 sections: the introduction, body, and conclusion. Now I want you to think of these as sections, not paragraphs. We're not stuck in the 5-paragraph essay of your high school days. The first section of your essay is the introduction. This might take 1 paragraph and it might take more, depending on how complex your topic is. The introduction needs to accomplish 3 main goals. First, hook your reader. You need an opening sentence that makes your readers want to finish your essay. It can be a rhetorical question, an interesting quote, a startling fact, or a quick anecdote that gets you interested. And I promise, if you start your essay with, according to Webster's Dictionary, no one will want to read it. This is a great place to be creative, so don't waste it with something that will put your readers to sleep. Next, you need to introduce your topic. You can't jump straight into your argument because not everyone in your audience will be familiar with your topic. Let's say, for example, you write about an essay about Breaking Bad. You might be thinking, well, everyone knows that show, except some people, me, have never seen it. So if you start talking about meth sales and chemistry teachers, we're going to be lost before you even begin. Take the time to explain what you're talking about so that we can follow along. But you don't need to tell us every single thing. Breaking Bad was on for a while. We don't need all of the seasons beat by beat. The third thing you need to accomplish in your introduction is your thesis statement. A thesis statement has very specific requirements. You need to tell us your topic, state your claim, and forecast your main points. Do not use the first person pronoun I in your thesis statement. This isn't about you or your process. It's just about your argument. The thesis serves as a transition to your body paragraph, so it needs to be placed at the very end of your introduction. The bulk of your essay will be supporting body paragraphs. Each body paragraph should be between 5 to 10 sentences. If it's less than that, you need to either add more support or you need to connect it to another fuller paragraph. If it's over 10 sentences, split it into 2 paragraphs. Each paragraph needs to have a topic sentence, supporting examples and research, a discussion of all of your support, and a clear transition. The transition will be included as part of the topic sentence and serves to show the reader how your ideas connect together. The final section of your essay is the conclusion. The conclusion needs to do 2 things. Sum up your argument, let the reader know why we should care. This is the last impression, so don't throw it away. Take some time to ask us to do something or explain why your topic matters. When I reach the end of your essay, I should be able to ask, so what? And your conclusion should answer that. Remember your audience here. How can you make your topic relevant for everyone in your academic audience? Throughout this term, we're going to be reading fairy tales, and you might be asking why. Fair enough. The reason I chose fairy tales is not just because they're fun to read, though they are. It's because these stories are one of the earliest and most influential types of arguments that we encounter. We've all heard the moral of the story, but you might not have thought about those morals as an argument that someone is trying to persuade you to believe. However, when we examine different versions of the Cinderella story, we can see just how that persuasion is being accomplished. We're starting with the Brothers Grimm version in your book, and the version by Charles Perrault that I've posted in your modules. One thing you'll notice is that the audience for those 2 versions is notably different. Pay attention to how the authors have changed the details of the story and how the story is presented. Also, ask yourself what the story is trying to teach the readers or listeners of the story. What is it telling you about the way the world works or how we should live within it? In the introduction to this section of your fairy tale book, the author presents a number of different ways that these stories can be understood. Jane Yolen, for example, argues that the European and American versions of the story present a passive princess with the message that good little girls are quiet, obedient, and subservient, and who need to wait for a Prince Charming to rescue them. Another possible interpretation is that these stories are about the dangers of outsiders, the wicked stepmother who invades the family and terrorizes poor Cinderella. In older versions, these stories often focus on bad dads, fathers who develop inappropriate desires for their beautiful daughters. But interestingly, we've gotten rid of that theme. Instead of passing on the stories about incestuous fathers, the stories we tell are about dangerous mothers, which should lead any critical reader to ask why exactly that happened. Is it just that incest makes us uncomfortable? Or is it easier, for some reason, for us to live with dangerous mothers than problematic fathers? Maria Tartar, the editor of our book, will lay out some of her ideas as to why this has happened, but I want you to try to answer these questions for yourself. Our essays will be all about arguing, and being a good reader and writer means asking questions of your text, your sources, and yourself. Next week, we'll tackle our first draft. For now, though, you have your second writing exercise. This will be focused on developing a claim, writing a thesis, and constructing an introduction. Review the linked sections in the online Little Seagull on writing processes and opening and closing paragraphs to help with this assignment. You also have a discussion board post assigned at the end of the week that will go along with your Cinderella stories. As always, let me know if you have any questions as you work.